The next is an ode to the Prophet that was written by Aziz Mahmoud Hudai, who was a great Sufi sheikh of the 17th century. His shrine is still one of the most visited ones in Istanbul. It's on the Asian side, and he's the patron saint of Üsküdar, which is when you cross the Bosphorus on the ferry. It's where the ferry stations are, and his shrine is maybe a 10-minute walk up the hill. And if you go there, I mean, it's throughout the year it's busy. If you go there on one of the holidays or the Eids or any of the major festivals, I mean, the lines are out in the line of visitation for his maqam are out in the street.
Lots of people.
So it's so popular. He was actually the story. He was during the Ottoman days. He was the Qadi, or the judge, the supreme judge of Bursa, which was after Istanbul, probably the most important city, because that's where it was the original capital of the Ottoman Empire until it moved to Istanbul. And so he was the chief judge of Bursa, but he was not. His heart was not contented with that. With the spirit, with that station, his heart was contented with his spirituality. So there was a sheikh called Uftade in Bursa, and he wanted to become his student. And so he went to the sheikh and said, "Sheikh, can I become your murid? Can I become your student?" And he says, "It's not going to work. You're the chief qadi of the city, the chief judge. Your position is not going to work." But he kept on coming and asking him. He said, "Okay, the only way you can become my murid is if you resign as judge." So he resigned as the qadi of the city, and then his sheikh put him through a series of tests to test him, and finally he put him in charge of cleaning the latrines, the toilets, and at the same time keeping in there's a practice that was practiced in the old days. We have it easy sometimes these days. It's like it was practiced quite often, but at the same time you have to keep in what we call wudu. You have to keep your ablutions. So it's a very strict practice. So he was put in charge of the latrines, and shortly after he was put in charge of the latrines, the new judge, the new qadi, was coming from Istanbul and came with the Ottomans loved processions. So he came into the town with a whole procession of dignitaries in front of him. And so there was a lot of and musicians, and there was a lot of sound, and he was outside, he was in the dargah, cleaning the latrines, and his heart rebelled greatly. And it was, here he was, cleaning the latrines while there was the judge coming, so his nafs, his ego was rebelling greatly. Finally he turned to himself, and he had a very long beard, and he grabbed his beard and he said, "I'll show you," he said to his ego, and he was just about to wipe the toilet with his beard. And at the moment that he was ready to do it, a hand grabbed his hand and said, "This was not created for that." And that was his sheikh. And from that day on, he advanced very rapidly and was sent by his sheikh to Istanbul. And he actually became the sheikh of Ahmed I, who was the sultan that built the Blue Mosque. Sultan Ahmed, yeah. To the point where he was, one day Sultan Ahmed was coming across the Bosphorus. Again, we have it easy, now it's the ferry boats that go back and forth. In those days, it's like, this kind of thing across the Bosphorus in all kinds of weather. Anyway, it was a stormy day. He came across the Bosphorus, and he was sitting on his horse with all his retinue around him. And his Hudai's rank was such that when the Sultan came to him, he said, "Please, could you get off your horse?" He said to the Sultan, which is not done to the Sultan. He got off his horse, and Uftade climbed and sat. Hudai climbed and sat on the horse. And he just sat there for a couple of minutes, got down off the horse, and walked back and said, please, you know, get on your horse again, to the Sultan. And the Sultan was kind of perplexed. He said, why did you, what was this about? He said, when I was finishing as a murid, as a student, and the Sheikh turned to me and said, one day you will reach the station where you will sit on the horse of the Sultan. That's the only reason. So, alhamdulillah. But it's a wonderful place to visit. If you're ever in Istanbul, Huday's tomb, and there's still a big, it's not just a tomb, it's a madrasa, a school around it, there's a soup kitchen around it, and it's a hospice and a hostel. It's still a very functioning place in Üsküdar.
And 2 years ago, you might have heard about there was really very cold, a lot of cold weather in Istanbul, and the people of the derga there, they took in all the cats.
The imam, he opened up the mosque for the cats. It was 2 winters ago.
Because it was so
in January. It became a well-known story in the news.
It was international news.
That was in Huday's mosque.
So this is a very famous ode. Everybody in Turkey that we've met knows this. It's sort of like one of the top 10 Sufi hits of Turkey.